Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. You are watching Good News at Primetime, and I am Sylvia Hayes. We have a great show for you tonight. Today, we're going to be talking about siblings. Everybody have siblings or close to it. We have some people who are an only child, but then they have cousins who are just like a sibling to them. But we're going to talk about siblings and how it affects them in their life. But first, we got the good news. As you know, we did Only at a Funeral this weekend. It was fantastic. We had a great show. So those of you who missed it, you missed a treat. So we're going to come back. We're going to come back with it again, and we will have it available. I'm not sure exactly when, but Only at a Funeral, it was really great. And also good news, I had an opportunity to go to a Christian movie guide banquet. And there I found my calling. I won't say I found my calling, my purpose in life at a banquet. Can you believe that? It was there, but I didn't know it. Everything came together at this banquet. So I am pleased to know now that I have a purpose in life. Well, I had a purpose already, but I know what it is now. I know what is put together. All the puzzles were the pieces, you know how they're piece there, piece there, piece there, piece there. Now it all came together and I see the light. Okay, that is from a Christian movie guide banquet. That's with people who are in the movie industry from all over the world. And that is good news because I got a chance to meet a lot of good film producers and everything. It was really nice. And also, good news, I am doing my first book signing November the 7th. at the Apex Museum. That's the Black Historical Museum downtown on Auburn Avenue. The address is 135 Auburn Avenue. My first book signing for my book, Power Thoughts. As you know, Power Thoughts is my book. It encourages people to do well in life. It enhances your life. It is really a good book. And students, it is the best for students. It is the best. I as a bus driver, I was a bus driver. I did the Power Thoughts on the bus every morning for my kids. They got better grades, higher self-esteem. They had respect for everybody, and I did not have any fights on my bus. And that's what Power Thoughts is about, is uplift your spirit. And a lot of people really do good with this book. I had one lady, she was a senior. She said that she had low self-esteem all her life. And when she read that book, she went back to school, her self-esteem rose, and now she's in business for herself. All because of my book, Power Thoughts. You got to get this book and read it and spread the word because it is so uplifting. Okay, and that is it for good news. Now we're going to talk about our topic, and it is siblings, how they affect you, where you were, and whether you're the beginning, the middle, or were you the baby child. It really matters. A lot of people don't realize that, and they just grow up saying, I'm the oldest, I'm the middle, I'm the baby, and they never give it a second thought. But the responsibilities of each position really means something. And so we're going to talk about that. And I have my co-host with me, Mr. Reggie Drummer. Hi, Reggie. How you doing?
What's up there, Miss Sylvia Hayes, award-winning producer, author. And my power thought of today is don't give up, always stay forward, and keep focused. So I'm excited about tonight's show because we're talking about the siblings. And, I call that the pecking order. And it not only exists in the human population, it exists everywhere. When you look at the firstborn all the way down to the lastborn. And I just had a conversation with my brothers and even my sister. We talk about the pecking order all the time. We have a little thing, we call it the original one, the first one, the second one, the third one, and the only one. So that's our pecking order in relationship to every person. The only one is my sister. She's the only girl. So she's the only one. My first one is, the original one is my dad. He's the original one. And then the first one is my oldest brother. And then within my group, especially, number one is my twin brother, because he's the first one on my mother's side. And then I'm the second one. And then my baby brother, he's the last one. Okay. So every family does something different. I see them do it, whether it's three with a traditional older, middle, and younger, or whether it's 15 with the oldest ones, the middle ones, and the last ones. So I'm excited about this evening.
Oh, okay. Great. I am too, because we have a couple of guests who's going to be talking about where they fall in and how it affect them. Because I know me, I was the oldest in the family, so I took charge of everything. My mom always said, "You're the oldest." Of course, I was responsible for them, and then I was the one who get in trouble when things go wrong.
Right.
So it was a challenge, but it molded me. I didn't know it then, but now as I look back, it molded me. So we have guests on the show right now. We have Mr. James Hudson. Hey, Mr. James.
Good evening. How you doing, my brother?
What's up, Big James? How are you doing, my brother?
It's all good.
Amanda Williams, who's going to join us on this conversation. So you can unmute your mic, Amanda. She looked frozen.
Okay.
Okay. But we are going to talk about that. James, where do you fall in your family? Are you the oldest, the baby, the middle, or what?
No, I'm really next to the youngest.
Next to
There's
the
one.
youngest?
Yes, there's one under me. It was seven of us, and I'm number six.
Oh,
Wow.
okay. You're
Yeah,
number six.
yeah, I'm number six. Whatever significant meaning that has, I'm it.
Oh, okay. Okay. So being number six, that means you're next to the baby.
Yes, I am next to the youngest one. You're absolutely right.
Okay. So that means you had an opportunity to learn from your older siblings. Is that correct?
Well, it should have been that way, but it wasn't.
It wasn't?
No, it
Whoa.
wasn't because
Okay.
they was busy out doing what they wanted, what they were doing. So I had to stumble through it and learn from bruises and hard knocks.
Okay. So that means there were a lot of years between you and the person older than you?
No, the one that's right above me is a girl. Um, and the one before her, there may have been about 3 years between him and I.
Wow.
But like I said, he was he was out doing what he wanted to do, And by the time that I came along, well, in trying to learn what to do and how to do it, I had to learn through trial and error.
Oh, okay. Okay. Through trial and error. Okay.
Yes.
So Amanda,
Hello.
where do you fit in?
Hey.
I am the second oldest,
You're the
and I'm the
second.
first girl.
Oh, okay. The first girl. So that means that you had the responsibilities of doing all the cooking and everything.
Well, Mama was a different breed, so Mama made us all do the cooking and cleaning.
Oh, okay.
But yes, as the oldest female, I did have a little bit more responsibility on me.
Oh, okay. Okay. So as the oldest girl, so did you feel like you had to lead the way, show your younger siblings the right examples, the right thing to do? Set an example for them, shall I say?
I did. Now I did have an older brother. He liked it to play a little bit more than I did. I was more the detailed person, so I paid attention to the details. So that did make me a little bit more responsible than he was. And sometimes he did get in his feelings because Mama would put me over certain stuff.
Okay.
But I did, and even to this day, I feel like as the female of the house, I'm more responsible to do certain things around the house.
Oh, okay. So being the female who had responsibilities over your siblings, that gave you a more of a, I guess, experience. That's the experience is not the word I want to use. But it made
it taught me more, I guess I could say.
Yeah.
And with Mom teaching us how to do things, and me being the female, I feel like I absorb things more. Being the oldest and the first girl, I feel like I absorb things a little bit more than everybody else did. And so to this day, like I said, I'm very detailed. And when I say I look at everything, and Mama would get me sometimes about the way I put words in my sentences, but I know what I'm supposed to do in that area. But I'm very detailed, and I pay attention to like the way people say things, the way they do things. If they walk in the house, whether they go left or right, or like little details like that. And I feel like I learned that because of the way Mom taught us, and then because of the characteristics I have as being one of the older children and learning things firsthand.
Oh, okay.
Well,
so James, being as you are next to the youngest, did you find yourself being spoiled just a little bit? Oh, you said no, though, didn't you?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Spoiled. That's the joke of the day. No.
Well, I'm
Not,
spoiled, and I'm 32 years old, and I feel like I'm spoiled by my mama.
Really?
if I was spoiled, I spoiled me. No, none of that. My mom had 7 children. She was a single parent. Very she did what she had to do back during that time. I'm 68 and I'm next to the youngest, so that lets you know what era I came up in. An uneducated black woman, young, with 6 children, and separated from her husband was not an easy task for her. So she didn't have time to spoil, but she did have time to correct, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, you know, one thing when you look at families, you know, wherever you are in the generational cycle of family. For instance, my mother was the oldest in her family of 3 girls. Well, when she was born, they wanted a boy to be the firstborn. Well, she just happened to be a girl, so she was tossed all those responsibilities. And my mother was born in 1930. She was tossed all the responsibilities that a boy would have. And by the time my aunt, who was the second born, that came about 2 or 3 years later, she didn't have a whole lot of responsibilities. And by the time my other aunt came, who was born 5 or 6 years later, she was called a baby child. Now that's a traditional family, and they would raise their children accordingly, even as they grew up. So my mother had a tendency to be more stern, more firm, and all those things. My middle aunt had the tendency to be a little bit more open-minded, and she still had those stern mindsets. And then my younger aunt she was the baby. Now, when it came down to them raising their children, believe it or not, there were still patterns of paternal order, which is older, younger, and the baby. Okay. And when you look at those things and the pecking order, in my case, under my mother's wing, is 3 of us. And I happen to be a twin. My brother is 3 minutes older than I am. He's my older brother, and I'm 3 minutes younger than him. And then I have a younger brother that's 6 years younger than we are. Well, there's a different pecking order because he is still the oldest. Even when I was in high school and we first got a car, he was my older brother, even though he's only 3 minutes older than I am. You see what I'm saying? So, but even today, with us being 62 years old, I still lean to my older brother as being, you know, the voice of reason for the family. There's a pecking order, and I'm in the middle. So, do you all see the pecking order within your sibling? I know you're the oldest, Sylvia. You're amongst the youngest, James, and you're amongst the oldest, Amanda. You know, do you see where positioning in the family brings some degree of weight?
Well, for me it did. I didn't think about it at the time, but I was responsible for everything, you know. I won't say for everything, but whenever something happened, might as well say I was responsible. Because if there was a fight, like me and my baby sister, we would fight. Now I know that I could beat her up, but she didn't know that because
can you tell us that?
Huh?
You tell us that.
I mean, look, I'm 5 or 6 years older than her.
You know me. I
And
know a
so,
lot of younger ones that tore up their big brothers and sisters. I'm pretty
yeah,
sure James to talk about that.
well, well, I could, but see, the thing is, I would run from her because if we fought, my mom would whip me because she'll say, I know better,
Whoa.
and I
Okay.
didn't want to hurt her. So I used to run from her, not all the time, but a lot of times I would. If I take one thing off of her wall, she would take 2 or 3 off mine and tear it up. That's what my baby sister was like.
Okay.
But if we fought, I'm the oldest, I know better. But I do remember though, one time when they was younger, I was left at home being responsible for my siblings. They went out and were playing in the mud. It had rained. They was out there playing in the mud, and the dirt got all their clothes messed up and stuff, and they were coming in the house, and I saw them. I got a switch, and I whooped every one of them. Now I look back, I'm going, they actually let me whip them. Because my sister's 11 months and 27 days younger than me. But she let me whip her, and all the rest of my siblings let me whip them because I was the oldest one. Having been the oldest one carries some weight. And a lot of times when things go on in the family, they'll go to the oldest one to talk about it, because the oldest one seems like have more wisdom. Not that I'm saying I have more wisdom, but they'll look up to what they say. So it does carry some weight. And then too, the younger one's gonna look at you, at what you do, so if you always running out or whatever you do, the younger one's going to be looking, they're going to be taking notes and going to see what they can do. And sometimes they look at the oldest one and see what not to do, because they know that the older one will get towed up about it. But so it does carry weight. It's a large responsibility. So if the oldest one go and get an education and try to be something in their life, then the younger one's going to look at that and they're going to try to do something, not necessarily try to compete, but they'll do something, because they want the older one to, see that they can accomplish something too. Yeah, because a lot of times the younger ones look up to the older ones. Like sometimes they're the hero or something. I ain't gonna say necessarily a hero, but they look up to them. Okay, so it's a responsibility. It's a responsibility.
Hey, one of y'all baby sisters out there is saying, see the baby sister, and evidently she's trying to put somebody in check. It ain't going like what you're telling us. Was that she said the baby sister's watching, and I don't know whether it's James, Sylvia, or Amanda, but one of y'all baby sisters saying, hey, that ain't the real deal. So and so
it must be
when the hunter, tell James,
it's my mother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's my baby sister.
Okay. Well, one thing. Well, one of the things when you look at the whole hierarchy of children in the family, I don't care if you got 15 people in the family. There's a certain hierarchy. And I'm not gonna even put, but even one of my ex-wives, they had 15 people in their family.
Mm-hmm.
And the first group, it was 5 up there. You had the oldest, the youngest, and the baby of those 5. And they was probably 15 years older than the middle group. Okay. And then in the middle group, you had 5 there. They had their own older, younger, and baby. And then the last group, which was the youngest, was 20 years apart from the oldest in the first hierarchy. And they had placement according to their structure. So within families, we see there's an order. And in some families where you got a smaller family, they say if it's a boy and a girl, and it's the girl might be older, and I don't know if you older than your brother Miss Amanda, are younger than your brother, but there's a tendency in the family to push the older one, which is the male child, ahead of the female child, even though she's the oldest. And there's some things around that. So I don't know, Sylvia, if you was the oldest, and did you have younger brothers? And, you know,
Yeah.
how did those
Everybody was
situations?
younger than me. I was the oldest.
I mean, did you see any adversity towards you as being the lady, the female of the group?
No, but let me tell you this. Now, my brother, he's like the middle child, right? So, like, he and
Okay.
I went out somewhere together, and he had the nerve to tell me, "Sil, don't you dance with anybody unless I approve of them." Now,
Ooh.
this is my little brother gonna tell me not to dance with anybody unless he approve of them. I'm going, what is this? But he was like that. And then I remember one time when it was a guy came to the house to visit my sister, and she was just standing by the car, broad daylight, standing by the car talking to him. He was in the car, and she was by, standing at the door. And he actually went out there and ran that boy away. She was so mad.
Okay. Ooh,
He ran
okay.
him away. So
Mm.
my brother is like protective like that. So I guess sometimes it's not necessarily the order, but your authority. Because if you're a male, you know what the males are like, and I'm not gonna let you do my sister like this or talk to my sister because I know what you're about. Sometimes they're like that, and then some females, if they know what a girl is like, whether their brother is younger or older, they're gonna try to protect them.
Oh.
So that is like that. So James, with your sister younger than you, did you have any authority over her?
No, my sister's not younger than me. My sister's older than I am. I have
Yeah.
two sisters. I have two sisters, and both of them are older than I am. I have a younger brother, but even at that right there, you didn't just come around my sisters and like you were
Okay.
crazy. You understand what I'm saying? I don't understand why, but when my sisters went out, my mom would always appoint me to be their chaperone, and
Okay.
I'm their too young.
Yeah.
I never understood that.
Ah, ah,
Yeah.
I never understood that.
Because you're the male, because the male's supposed to be the stronger one.
Yeah, but I
ooh,
got what 1, 2, 3. I had 3 brothers older than me.
ah,
Yeah.
woo.
Yeah,
Well,
3 brothers
how about
older than I.
you,
Okay.
Amanda?
Well, I was one of the timid siblings. So I could do stuff in the house, but when it came to outside the house, I was very shy and timid. So, in our case, my sister that's younger than me, right up under me, when I needed something and my brother wasn't around, I got my sister to do it for me. Even like I remember times like on the bus or at the bus stop when someone would be either messing with one of the siblings or my sister hears somebody talking about somebody. They had it real bad when we was in band together. They would talk about my oldest brother and my sister. When I say she was the fighter, like
Okay.
she would walk to you and say, "Hey, either you can stop or we can roll." She was the. Don't tell my mom I'm telling all these. She was the
Okay.
one. She was the one who fought for us.
Mm.
Now my brother, he was my oldest brother. He would fight for himself too, but in his characteristics was he just wanted to do what he wanted to do and get his glory time. My sister, she was all about family. Me, I was all about staying to myself and staying out the way of everybody else. I'm just gonna
Mm.
do me and go about my business. My younger 2 siblings, they were spoiled, so they just did what they wanted to do and all that. As far as characteristic wise, mom would put my oldest brother in charge of us whenever she would want us to go do something. She would tell him to watch us. But as far as responsibility, when it came down to like doing chores or doing something specific, mom, she wouldn't say I was in control, but I knew that I was in control, and my siblings did too. Because when they would clean their area, in order for them not to get in trouble, they would say, Amanda, can you come check and make sure we did everything right? and I was like, mama, I would pick out little small things. Like if there was a hair on the sink and they didn't wipe the hair off, I'd be like, okay, you better get that hair or mama's gonna get you when she get home. So when it came to little things like that, they let me. But my oldest brother, he could not stand me being in control. Like as far as trying to tell them what to do, and he couldn't stand it. He hated it, and he would argue with me the whole time while mama wasn't at the house. Anytime mama left us at the house, he would argue with me the whole time. You don't tell me what to do. I'm the oldest. I tell you what to do. Blah 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 blah. But when it came down to specifics, it was like, Amanda, can you come do this? Amanda, come check. Come look. Come look. Overall, though, I think we all balanced each other out, because some of us, what one didn't have, another had, and we all kind of balanced each other out. And I think it was a good balance for mom too, because I mean we were different, but we all kind of came together. As far as with our differences, our childhood was fun, actually.
Well,
It really was.
I see a lot of people, and we like to thank everybody that's joining us over on YouTube and Facebook. We encourage you to like, share, and join us over on this platform. And I know you got some comments. I know Mike says that, it came downhill as a male in the family. He was taught to cook, sew, clean, iron, and all that. Now, some men in a family where they got a lot of sisters that's older than them, the women did all the work, and the youngest males are universally baby and protected by the mother. If you're the baby in the family, your mother made sure that the older ones took care of cooking and cleaning and all that, and the baby one just, oh, that's my baby. Even though he's a boy or a girl, that's my baby. I just love my baby. And my baby, and all the older ones, they, and I don't know if either one of y'all fall in that category where you the pet of the family, you the baby. Mike says, sometimes the baby learn how to cook and all that type stuff, but a lot of times they were overly given affection. So the baby child, even when you go to a family reunion, because I remember I went to a family reunion with a lady and she was a baby. They hated her. They didn't hate her, but I could tell that she was not the favorite one in the family. She was spoiled. She had always got her way. Mama looked out for her, put extra baby bottles out there for her. So she, it was what it was. But as they grew up into adulthood, the siblings still maintained that pecking order. And they wanted to make sure she was always taken care of. They wanted to see who she was dating. They wanted to make sure, they did all the little things. So do you see that in your families? Do you all see that in your family where people do not let you grow up? Or they still don't want to grow up and let you be the one that take care of everything? They always call on you. They 40 years old and talking about, big sister, I need the money for my rent. My car note, dude.
No, everybody in my family were independent.
Mm-hmm. We don't Mama made sure that with us too.
Yeah, we didn't have to call on anybody unless just really hard times came along. But for the most part, everybody was independent. They carried their own weight. So that's the way we were. We got a little taste of education and didn't have to depend on anybody. Everybody was independent. As far as the baby, now my baby sister, she got a little spoiled because not spoiled, but she was a little spoiled. Because I remember when I was in college, my sister and I, when we were in college, and a tornado came through, tore up the dorm. Red Cross came and gave us money, to help us with clothes and stuff like that. So instead of spending it on us, we spent a little bit on us, and we spent some on my baby sister, and she wasn't there. So we shared our money with her. So whenever we went out, now when we were trying to go out and date and kind of stuff like that, she was too young to go, and that was a problem because my mom said either, like one time we went to the movies, Richard Pryor movie. She wanted to go to the movie, and I'm telling her, no, you can't go. No, you can't go. And she kept on wanting to go. My mom said, either she go or you stay here.
Okay.
Okay, so she had to go. And when she got there, she was bored stiff. And I was laughing because I told her she couldn't go. And it was a Richard Pryor comedy show, so I guess she didn't identify with that. But, and that's the way my mom was with us sometimes. She had to go with us if she wanted to go. But we thought she was too little to go. We don't want you hanging with us. You're too little. But she did. And that's the problem some of the babies have. The younger ones in the family, the older ones don't want to be going with them, don't want them with them because they're too young. That's the way they feel. So you had that problem, James, with your siblings? They felt you were too young to be hanging with them?
Yes, they did. But my older brothers, by all means. But my sisters, they resented it. But then they knew that that's the only way they were going to be able to go is they allowed me to go with them. Because my mom, like I said, she always appointed me. And I think that came from the fact that she knew that I would stand up for my sisters. I was the smallest structured male in the family, but I was the quickest one to throw the first flip,
Okay. They did the deal.
I would step to the forefront real quick if you disrespected my sisters or my mom. So I think that's one of the reasons why I was appointed like that. But other than that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think none of us was hesitant to fight. Because I remember, I know it's going to make me sound like I'm bad. We used to practice fighting. Like if we had a problem with somebody at school, shoot, we practice fighting. And when the time came, we didn't pick any fights now. We didn't pick any fight. I remember one girl, she would pick on all the kids on the bus, pick on them, had them crying. And like we would used to ride the school bus and it was crowded, right? So in order to have a seat in the evening, we would put a book on the seat so that when we get back on the bus, that's our seat. And there was this one girl, she would take the book off and she would have people crying, make them get moved. You can't sit here and all that kind of stuff. She would pick on people. She was a bully.
A bully?
Yeah, that's basically what she was, but not with us. Okay, so one day she took the book off of my cousin's seat and she wouldn't let him sit down and kind of had him crying a little bit. And my brother was taking up for him, saying a few things. And she said something about she going to hit him or something. Anyway, when she hit my brother, I hit her, my sister hit her, everybody hit her. The whole family was on this girl. Eventually they were pulling us off, but when we finished, we had knocked her teeth out. I think my sister had knocked her teeth out. She had blood on her, and we got suspended for a couple of days. But that's okay. We stood our ground. And I remember somebody said, "Y'all hazers think y'all bad." We didn't think we were bad. I mean, we just didn't let
y'all knew y'all was bad.
Huh?
Oh, right. Y'all knew y'all was bad. You know what? And I want to share this because when we talk about traditional families, this is where everybody's placed in and everybody's in the same, unquote, bloodline. But especially in the Black community, you got secondary families. whether it's your step family, your cousins, and these people are brought in. Well, that brings a different alignment of positioning because they already got their standards, their things, and maybe none of you, or maybe you might be in a relationship now, and some of our audience members are in those relationships where they have extended family. Well, when you have extended family, sometimes it's a little bit more difficult uh, to to maintain certain rules and boundaries because you got different bloodlines, you got different respect levels and things of that nature. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember, going through situations. At one time, I had a cousin that was 6 months younger than I am, and then I had another cousin that was a year younger than I was, but we was kind of together. And then within their groups, they had their family order, but we all were raised under the roof of my grandmother. So as long as my grandmother was there, we maintained a lot of the rules and responsibilities that my grandmother came up with. Well, in your families, and maybe it was when a summer came and you had some of your aunts, uncles, kids come. Do you see or do you observe any differences in the pecking order of the family structure when it comes down to cousins or half brothers and sisters? I mean, did you
Anybody?
notice a
We
difference?
always felt like all our cousins and everybody else always got to do everything, and we didn't. We got to do nothing.
Okay. Mm.
I
But
can
mom
identify
was
with that.
training us not to be so much out there. She was really don't know how to explain it. The way she trained us was structured, and not saying that other people were not structured. They just didn't have the um I don't know what you call it. Mom
Discipline.
was a single parent, and she had to do certain things as a single parent to keep us as a family.
Okay.
We had other cousins and other family members that had their parents together. They could do more. Money was good or better. I mean, there were just things that were different, and so we always felt like we could never do anything because of our situation or vehicle issues or money or we like one thing I couldn't be in cheerleader. I wanted to be a cheerleader, but it was $1,000, and mom was like, we ain't doing it. So I mean,
Okay.
things like that, like little things like that, we always feel like we couldn't do everything everybody else did.
Yeah,
So yeah,
well, the money kept me from being a cheerleader too in high school. Yeah, but college it was a different story.
still
So
couldn't be
I
one
didn't.
in college.
Huh?
I said I still couldn't be one in college, but
Oh,
that's all
you
right because
couldn't.
my little girl gonna be a cheerleader.
Oh, okay.
There you go. There you go. Live your dream. Live your dream through your daughter.
Yes.
Uh,
And you know what?
but
And that's what a lot of kids do. They the stuff that they couldn't do, they make sure that their children are doing it. Do you feel like either one of you feel like the way you were raised affect the way you raise your children?
Yeah, I do.
yeah.
I would say yes. Yes, yes. I always put in my son, and I tell him this to tell his children that I want the basement of his house to extend from the roof of my house. I may
Mm.
not have nothing but a hut to offer, but on my hut, I want you to build a 3-bedroom. Your 3-bedroom, I want your children to build a mansion. You know?
Mm. Oh, okay.
I like that. I like that.
That's interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
And,
So Amanda,
and you,
in what way do you feel like the way you was raised affect the way you raise your children?
Um, Mostly mom was very strict on us, and it was for good reason. And I feel like she protected us in things that we didn't understand.
Yeah.
Well, and another question, when it comes down to choosing your mates, your significant others. I know we had a question in the Facebook chat. How does the pecking order, you know, for instance, when you meet somebody and they say, you know, I'm the baby of the family, you might say, oh hell, I mean, oh no, I might not need to go in that direction. Or if they the oldest one in the family. Well, how does the positioning of another person say that could be your significant other? Did you ever think about that? You say, you know what? I definitely don't want to get with nobody that's a baby of the family because I know they're gonna be on me, treating me like I'm the baby of the family. Or if you're the oldest one in the family and a traditional family where everybody expects the oldest one to take care of everything. Uh, was positioning whether the oldest, the middle, or the youngest, was that important to you, or did you see that as a deciding factor when you know decided to choose your mate, or you just say, man, it really don't matter?
Well,
But
sometimes you don't think about it, but then I know if I'm dating somebody and they're like the baby and they're spoiled, I don't really
ooh,
want to be with a spoiled person, you know, because
okay,
if they're spoiled and getting things their way, that means they're gonna expect me to let them have things their way, and
mm,
I'm not doing that because a lot of babies, people tend to cater to them and do things for them, and they don't have to work as hard and all of that kind of stuff. Some of them do work hard now. Some do work hard, but some, you know, they get away, and I wouldn't want that because even though I'm an independent person, I'm not going to be taking care of you. You know, you're going to have to pull your load. Definitely,
ooh,
because I don't believe in taking care of men unless they're just sick and can't take care of themselves, and I'm married to them. You know, I'll do that.
okay,
But if for you just to be not doing what you need to do, I need somebody at my level, not down here. And I'm not going to be trying to pull you up. I'm not going to let you pull me down either. If that's the way I look at it. Uh, being sometimes being the oldest in the family, you have that structured mind, and so you're going to do things in a structured way, even in your relationships, on your job, you know, in your responsibilities, because you've
right,
already started that structure as a youth, and then it's going to
mm,
carry with you through life. I discovered, you know, that being the oldest in the family, it it helped me through life. I didn't know that then, but I was being molded year by year as I was getting older because I had leadership jobs. You know, manager, I'm a leader, taking care of stuff. Uh, President of a couple of choirs, leader of a group. You know, it gave me that leadership structure from being, you know, the oldest and had to be responsible and being the leader. So I
oh,
think it was that seed that was planted in me, and the seed as a baby is gonna, if the baby is really pampered, that's a seed you're planting in that baby. So you have to give them that structure. You can't just let them have their way all the time. So it's
mm,
important because sometimes they might get sour on the job and just walk off, you know, and
oh,
that's not a
okay.
good thing. So
Well,
they need that structure as well, huh?
how did Amanda and James, when it came down to you selecting spouse, did you weigh in the factor of the birth order?
I did. I mean, as long as they were older than me, I looked at other things. I looked at other characteristics than the order of the birth.
Mm,
And I have to agree with that. I didn't look at the order that they come in, but I always wanted to know, you know, where's your headset? You know, where's your headset? And that's what really moves me about talking to an individual, where your mindset is. You know,
mm,
and I mean, you could be the youngest, But if your mindset is all jacked up, I don't want nothing to do with it. You could be the oldest. We could be the same age, but if your mindset is not right, and I'm not saying that I got all the answers, like I said earlier. I had to learn through trial and error, and there's a lot that I'm still learning, even at the age of 68.
Right.
You know, but if that mindset isn't right, then I kind of like distance myself because, and I think it's simply because of the way that I somewhat was raised. You know, at the age of 13, I told my mom, I went to her and I told her, I said, you've done a great job, you know, and you've taught me well about life. But I'm at the age now where I'm becoming into manhood. You cannot teach me how to be a man. I wore plenty of stripes behind that statement. But I told her, oh yeah, beat it. I mean, she told me, you know, if you're not in this house by the time the lights come on, you know, you just come on in with your switches because I'm gonna use them. Mm-hmm. And well, when I came in, I just prepared myself because I cannot learn how to be a man hanging up on her skirt tail. No, it wasn't there for me. All my siblings would cater to my mom. When I say cater to her, I don't mean I didn't, because I loved my mom dearly. But they would always be around her. If she wanted me, she had to call me. You know, not that I wouldn't call her and check on her and go by and give her money, but I wasn't the one to just go to my mom's house and just sit and talk. That they could do it, but me, it wasn't in me. It wasn't in me. You know?
Ooh. Well, you know what? I got a question, because when we talk about parents, and I assume y'all maybe parents are influenced. Did you see favorites when you were growing up, and do you have favorites now? Like when you were growing up.
I saw a lot of favoritism. Oh yeah.
Okay.
But it wasn't to me though.
Okay.
It was not to me. You can believe that. Okay. I'm trying to keep it comical, but it's a very serious topic. You know, I remember times growing up where my mom, like I said, she was a single parent of 7 years of age. I mean, of 7 children. And that's why I gave her so much leniency, the way that she raised us, 5 boys and 2 girls, you know, living, growing up in a 3-bedroom government project, not apartment, a project, you know? And she would take turns with the little money that she made in buying each one of us something.
Wow.
But it seemed like every time it came to me, it was a bill to pay. You know? So,
okay.
She would tell me, she said, well, I'll get you next week. Well, next week, it was another child's time, you know? So when I turned 13, I began to go out and earn my own money. You know, I bought my first bicycle and rod and reel by shining shoes. You know, I did that, you know, but that was my girl still, you know, that was my girl. She's been gone now since 2018. And when she left us, I'm the one that everybody, I paid for my mom's funeral and headstone. I'm the one that everybody turned to. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was the outcast of the family. Growing up, I was the outcast, you know.
How about you,
Miss
Amanda?
And then they turned to you.
Yeah, everybody turned to me, wanted to know how we gonna do this, how we gonna handle this, you know?
Right.
What should we do? And I'm looking at them like, well, you know, I know that the people on this panel here, they believe like I believe, that God is real. So I had to go to him for guidance, because I had no idea. I never been with nobody. But the Lord took me. He took me and showed me what to do and how to do it. You know.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I know when my mom died, we all got together and did it. Everybody made a group decision on it. So it wasn't looking to one person. We all did it together.
Right.
So
it wasn't that way here.
Ooh.
But not that I have any regrets about it. No, because like I said, my mom was my heart. I loved her dearly. And if I had to do it all over again, I'd do it 1,000 times if I had to. Simply because I saw my mom on her hand and knees scrubbing white folks' floors. You know, and even right now, like I said, she's been gone since 2018. And sometimes I think about it, and it still hurt me that I wasn't able to give my mom what I really wanted to give her before she left here, because I saw what she put in. My mom was 70 years of age. She was 70 years of age, went back to school and got her GED.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I applaud her. You know, she was a very strong black woman. You know?
Right.
Yeah. And you know, that will make you proud, because I remember my mom went back to college, and I was here in Atlanta, and I was on the phone with her, helping her with her math problems. You know? So, and I really felt proud that my mom was going back to school. You know, all of her kids were grown. She had grandkids and all that kind of stuff, but she's still trying to get a little bit more education. And that make you feel proud.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And two, I was going to say, even though you look at it, the things you had to get out and start working for yourself, but that built character in you.
True that.
You might have not thought about it then, but it built character, and it made you stronger. It made you more independent. You know, so it was a good thing, even though we look at it bad. A lot of bad things happen to us, and let me put it like this: a lot of things happen to us, and we think of it as being bad, but it's actually building character in us. You know, because like I didn't go a lot of places when I was younger. You know. And I discovered now that I really led a sheltered life. You know, things happening to people. I'm going, they actually do that? Why in the world would anybody do this to their siblings? You know,
wow.
I'm like that too.
We were really close. Because I remember one time we were in Mendenhall, and I was with some girls, and we went to the store, and I bought something for me, and I bought something for my sister, even though she wasn't here. And somebody said, I wish my sister would do that for me, you know, because we always look out for each other, whether they're there or not. But then there are people, the siblings, who will just stab each other in the back, and they try to take whatever they can from their siblings and just use them and all of that kind of stuff. But that's totally different. You're supposed to love your siblings. I remember when we were coming up, if we got in a fight or we were arguing or something, my mom used to make us hug each other. And
yes, that used to be the worst.
Passion. She used to make us hug, and I did my son like that. He tripped me out one time. He and my daughter was fighting, and I told him to hug her. He grabbed her. He had the ugliest face. Like he was going.
Can I ask y'all one little question, final question? Who's your favorite sibling? Out of all your brothers and sisters.
Do we have to answer that?
I don't have a favorite sibling.
I think my siblings are watching.
Okay. James. So I
don't have a favorite.
Okay, James.
I don't have a favorite. You know, I love all my siblings, and I respect them as long as they stay on their side of the track.
Okay. Well, I'm not afraid to put it out, because you know I'm a twin. So my favorite sibling is my twin brother. You know, I mean, we was in the same position for about 9 months, and you know, so I'm pretty open within my family unit. I know sometimes it's difficult for siblings to say who is the favorite, my older brother, my younger brother, this one or that one. Or even when it comes down to parents, they say, I don't know, all of them I treat the same. And in my family, I was because my mother almost died when we were born, so my grandmother kind of grabbed us, and I was her favorite. So in my world, in my family circle, I was the favorite, but she always put some other stuff in there to keep us balanced. And my mom did survive, and I'm blessed that my mom, who's 91, and my dad, who's I think he's 88.
Mhm.
And my mom, she suffered a stroke. But when I think about the sacrifice they made as parents and things of that nature, even though they weren't together, they separated when we were 6, and that caused and created a difference in how we were raised. But I thank God for the way that I was raised and the order in which things were dished out. So I'm grateful for the pecking order. I enjoy it.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah. And our topic tonight is siblings. Where you fall in order with your siblings. That's what we're talking about tonight, siblings and your relationship with your siblings and how did it affect you in life. Amanda, do you think your position as a sibling affect you in the way you live now, as far as the jobs or whatever? In a responsibility, life responsibilities, do you think your position as at your position in your sibling line, do you think it affect you?
I think it does, or I feel like it does. As far as with the way I teach my children, from how I was raised as the second oldest and as the first girl, um, I watch mom how she brought us up in the order that she did. And I do that to my children now. I make my oldest the most responsible. And then when my oldest is not there, my second oldest, I tell them, hey, you're responsible for the younger two. Um, and I think the way that mom treated us as the order, and she had a special little order that she would do. My oldest brother was Snookum do A, I was Snookum do B, and we went all the way down the alphabet. But the way she treated us in the order that she did, I feel like that taught me how to do my children. Do I do it the same way? No, because some of the stuff I didn't like as a child, but it made me realize and learn how the proper way to do children, and not only that, but to put my own style, put my own mix with how I train my children. And then mom was a super godly person, so of course I'm throwing all that godly stuff to him too. So yes, it did affect me. It did.
Okay. What about you, Jane?
Yeah, it affected me. I wasn't the best kid in the world, and as I said earlier, I wore a lot of stripes for it, and there are things that I wore stripes for that wasn't necessary. So it helped me to see that when my son was born, I did more talking to him and showing him that if he do it right, he ain't got to worry about the consequences of his daddy scolding him, but necessarily beating him. I think my son is 40 years of age, and I may have put hands on him 3 times out of his life. The rest of it was talking to him, showing him, if you do it like this, son, take time and think, and do it like this, you'll get a better result.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But you know what? My mom used to talk to us, and sometimes I'd rather for her to just whip me. Because she just
I would.
it's like whip me and get it over with. I don't want to hear all of this.
We rather the talking.
You were up for the
I
talking.
prefer the talking.
We wanted the talking.
Oh yeah, definitely the talking.
Yeah, talking would be good, but it's like it's too much.
See, I do that with my children. I talk more now and explain, okay, well, I'm giving you an opportunity or mama's going to get the switch.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
and
my
you know
kids,
what?
I did both. My kids, I did. I remember one time my son, he ran out in front of a car and nearly got hit. But my neighbor one came and told me about it, because he shouldn't have been out there in the first place. And I had his hand in one hand, I had the belt in the other hand. And I'm just sitting there talking to him and trying to explain to him what could have happened and all that kind of stuff. And I teach other stuff too. And he said, "But Mama, violence isn't the answer." It caught me off guard, but I still had to whip him because that's one of the things I did teach my children. Violence isn't the answer. So you don't go fighting people to solve problems. You need to talk to them. But he said, violence isn't the answer. It caught me off guard, but he
learned how to pray while we were getting the whooping.
Huh?
We learned how to pray while we were getting the whooping.
Oh Lord, thank you.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I wish I had thought of that one.
Mama was praying while she was whooping us. Lord, I thank you for my child.
But in me talking to my son, I think Sylvia, I shared this with you. He's an officer in the army, and he was in Iraq, and and one of the fellows in his squadron had did something really bad. And my son was telling me about this. He said, "Dad, I had the paper out and I was writing him up to present a court-martial for him because he really messed up." He said, "But when I called that young man in," he said, and I was writing him up, all the years that that you was raising me came back to me. And I know that I did some stuff that you should have killed me for, but you sat me down and you talked to me." He said, and I thought about that. He said, I looked at the young man and I tore the report up and I talked to him. He turned out to be one of the better soldiers they had in the squadron.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it works. Talking do help. It do.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, because you know what? Like I said, I'm 68 and I still got scars. I still got scars,
Hey.
Oh yeah.
But it made you think twice, though, didn't it?
Yeah.
I had to think about that one.
Me did.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I learned from my siblings. When I saw them getting in trouble for something, then I'd be like, "Oh yeah, let me not do that."
Yeah. That was going to be the other question. What have you learned from your siblings? What to do or what not to do?
Ooh.
Not to talk back.
Yeah.
Or we was gonna be picking up blood off the floor.
Well, being a twin in my family circle, it was a minute before they knew us apart. So my brother took a lot of whoopings from me. So but I think over time, and I don't think he holds a grudge against me, but I would always point to him and say, I was ready to come home, but he had the keys to the car.
3 minutes older, right? 3 minutes older.
3 minutes, yeah. But hey, I respect the pecking order. And I'm sticking to it. Oh yes, sir. I'm sticking to it, brother.
So, James, what did you learn from your siblings?
Nothing. They weren't there to teach me anything. I mean, we're keeping it real, right?
Yeah.
They wasn't there to teach me anything. I told you I learned through trial. I learned through trial and error.
But them teaching you something, but maybe you saw them do something and you said, I'm not going to do that. Or you saw them do something and you said, I'm going to do that. Or something they didn't do, you said, I'm going to do it.
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay.
Okay.
And my siblings would complain that I don't ever get in trouble, but I was just watching them. Whatever y'all do, y'all get in trouble. I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Whatever y'all don't do, I'm gonna make sure I do it so I can get the credit. Good.
Okay.
Watch and learn.
Okay. So our time is up, and I enjoyed this because I know a lot of times the older ones they take charge and they sometimes they're the one who have the degrees and make all the money and try to boss all the other siblings, whereas the baby sometimes don't, you know. So every spot in your family carries some weight, you know, be it good or be it bad. Some even the middle child, they could go either way. You know, the middle child, they might, you know, try to be over the younger ones, or then sometimes they might just look up to the older ones and try to, you know, emulate them. Because that's another responsibility of the older one. The younger one's going to look up to you and try to do what you do. So you have a responsibility, and that was one of the things I try to teach my kids when I was driving the school bus. Everything you do, you have siblings, and they're going to watch you, and they're going to try to do what you do. So you have to set a good example for your children, for your siblings, because they're going to be watching, you know, and a lot, even those who are older, and the kind they're going to do drugs. They don't want their siblings to do it. They don't want their little brother to do drugs. So you don't do it either. You know, you don't do that in front of them. You don't want your little brother to go out and cut somebody. So you don't do it either, because they're going to be watching you, and they might think it's cool that you do this, you know. So you have to know that you are a big influence on your siblings, be it younger or older. Even the babies sometimes make the young ones look good. I mean, look bad, because the younger one, they're out there doing their thing and everything, and then the older ones looking down. I can't let my little brother do me like this. I gotta pull up my game, step up the game, and do better. You know, because you are setting an example. Regardless as to where you are, you're setting an example. So that is it for tonight. I just want to say thank you, guys. It has been interesting and informative and entertaining. So I enjoyed it. And don't forget my book, Power Thoughts. You can get it on Amazon. Of course, you can go to lulu.com and get it. And I will also be doing a book signing on November the 7th at the Apex Museum at 3:00. So until then, I want to say thank you, James. Thank you, Amanda, for coming on. Thank you, Reggie, for being my co-host. I really enjoyed it. Until next time, we will see you with good news. Have a good evening.
Bye.